All right, so get this. We're diving into this world where your phone, isn't just for scrolling.
Right.
It's a potential gold mine.
Yeah,
We've gotten some really interesting stuff on Pi Network,
for sure.
and we're going to find out if it lives up to the hype.
Our sources are definitely hyped about this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
They think it could revolutionize the financial system as we know it.
That's right.
So let's break it down.
Yeah.
What is Pi Network?
How does it work?
Pi Network is this cryptocurrency project that lets you mine coins,
Uh-huh.
but you do it from your smartphone.
Right on your phone.
No massive energy-guzzling computer rigs needed like you see with Bitcoin.
Exactly. And what's really unique about Pi Network is how it tries to achieve decentralization.
Yeah.
It uses something called the Stellar Consensus Protocol, or SCP.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Stellar Consensus Protocol.
SCP.
You're going to have to break that down for me.
Sure.
And how does that compare to Bitcoin?
Well, imagine a network of computers all constantly communicating to agree on the validity of transactions.
Okay.
That's essentially what a consensus mechanism does.
Okay.
Bitcoin's proof of work requires miners to solve complex math problems,
Right.
which takes a ton of energy.
Uh-huh.
But SCP uses a system of trust between nodes, making it way more energy efficient.
So Pi Network is eco-friendly too.
Yeah,
That's a pretty big selling point these days.
it is.
But how secure is a system that's based on trust? Couldn't that be vulnerable to manipulation?
It's a valid concern.
Yeah.
While SCP is designed to be resilient to attacks,
Okay.
relying on trust between nodes introduces a different set of security challenges.
I see.
The success of Pi Network's security model hinges on the integrity and reliability of its node network.
And speaking of nodes, mining on a phone, that's got to have some technical limitations, right?
Yeah.
Our phones aren't exactly supercomputers.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Smartphone mining raises questions about processing power, battery usage, even data security.
Yeah.
It's totally different than traditional mining.
Okay.
And we'll need to dig into those drawbacks later on.
Our source claims that Pi Network already has millions of users.
Right.
But how do we actually verify that number?
Yeah.
What independent sources can back up that claim?
That's the thing with a lot of projects in the crypto space.
Yeah.
Transparency can be an issue.
Right.
While user numbers are often touted,
Yeah.
getting reliable, independently verified data is crucial.
Yeah.
It's healthy to be skeptical and dig a bit deeper.
Okay, so we've got this unique mining system, big user claims, and a trust-based network.
Mhm.
But Pi Network's aiming for much more than just being another cryptocurrency, right?
Oh, yeah.
They want to build this whole ecosystem around it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They talk about launching 100 new applications that would allow people to use Pi in all sorts of ways: shopping,
Wow.
booking travel, even entertainment.
That's ambitious.
It's an ambitious goal,
Yeah.
aiming to make Pi a real part of everyday life.
That sounds amazing.
It does.
But that brings up that classic chicken and egg problem, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You need both users and businesses on board to actually use Pi in the real world.
That's right.
How are they planning on tackling that?
That is the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And it's something we'll definitely unpack further.
Yeah.
Pi Network's success hinges on its ability to create a compelling value proposition for both individuals and businesses.
All right, so we've got eco-friendly mining,
Yeah.
bold user claims, an ambitious ecosystem plan, and a whole lot of questions about security and adoption.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It is.
Where do we go from here?
Well, let's move on to explore some specific examples of those 100 new applications.
Okay.
We need to understand what they actually offer and if they have the potential to solve this chicken and egg dilemma.
Sounds good.
Yeah, let's dive into those apps and see what Pi Network is bringing to the table.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's get down to the actual details. Those 100 new applications Pi Network is promising.
Right. Are they just a bunch of fluff, or can they really make Pi, go mainstream?
Well, our sources definitely paint a very positive picture,
Okay.
claiming these apps will integrate Pi into just about everything.
Mm-hmm.
Shopping, travel, entertainment.
Right.
They're really trying to show that Pi isn't just, a speculative asset,
Right.
but something you can actually use in your everyday life.
Okay, so let's talk more action.
Yeah.
Let's pick apart a few specific examples from the source material.
Okay.
They mentioned e-commerce a lot.
They do.
What would that actually look like?
Okay, so imagine an online marketplace,
Okay.
where alongside your usual payment options, you see a Pay with Pi button.
Uh-huh.
Think Etsy, but with Pi as the currency.
Okay, so you're browsing handmade crafts, you find the perfect gift.
Right.
Boom, you pay with Pi.
Yeah.
But why would a seller even bother accepting Pi in the first place?
Well, Pi Network is banking on a few things.
Okay.
First, they claim their transaction fees will be way lower
Okay.
than traditional payment processors.
That could be a big draw for small businesses.
Yeah.
Especially in the online marketplace world.
Lower fees, I get it.
Yeah.
But wouldn't sellers still need to convert Pi back into, like, dollars or euros at some point?
Right?
Doesn't that add an extra step?
That's where those 100 apps come in.
Okay.
Pi Network wants to create an ecosystem where you can directly use Pi for other goods and services.
Okay.
So maybe that Etsy seller uses their Pi to pay for advertising on another Pi-based platform.
Right.
And so on and so forth.
So it's all about creating this closed loop where Pi keeps circulating within its own little universe.
Exactly.
But that relies on a lot of other pieces falling into place.
It does.
Yeah.
And that's where I think some skepticism is definitely warranted.
Right.
It's a really ambitious plan.
Yeah.
And there's no guarantee it'll work, you know?
Well,
They're trying to build an entire economy from scratch.
it's a big ask.
Yeah, it's huge.
Okay, let's move on to another example.
Okay.
Our source mentions the travel industry.
As a potential area for Pi integration, what would that look like in practice?
Well, imagine booking a flight or a hotel using Pi
Okay.
directly through a dedicated travel app.
Uh-huh.
Or even think about like smaller scale travel experiences.
Right.
Maybe a guided tour or a local cooking class, all paid for with Pi.
Okay, so I can see the appeal for travelers.
Yeah.
But what about the travel companies themselves?
Right.
What's their incentive to accept this brand new unproven currency?
Well, Pi Network is betting on its growing user base,
Okay.
hoping to attract travel businesses that want to tap into a new market.
Okay.
They're basically saying, hey, we've got millions of potential customers who are ready to spend Pi.
Right.
Don't you want a piece of that?
That's a pretty bold claim,
It is.
especially considering we still need to, independently verify those user numbers.
Absolutely.
But even if they are accurate, wouldn't price volatility be a major issue?
You're hitting on a critical point.
Yeah.
Cryptocurrencies are notoriously volatile. Imagine a travel company accepts Pi for a booking today,
Yeah.
only to see its value plummet tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's a huge risk for any business.
It is.
Big risk.
And let's be real, people are creatures of habit.
Oh, yeah.
Switching from, familiar payment methods
Right.
to a new, potentially volatile cryptocurrency.
Yeah,
It's a big ask,
it is.
even with the promise of, lower fees or access to these new experiences.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Inertia is a powerful force.
Yeah.
Pi Network needs to offer a really compelling reason for people to ditch their credit cards and embrace Pi.
Right.
Whether they can achieve that
Yeah.
remains to be seen.
All right. So we've looked at e-commerce, travel.
Yeah.
The source material also mentions entertainment.
Right.
Any particularly intriguing applications there?
One example that stands out is the potential for microtransactions within online games or streaming services.
Oh, all right.
Imagine paying a small amount of Pi
Yeah.
to unlock a special item in a game or to tip your favorite streamer.
So instead of using real money or like in-app currency,
Right.
you'd use Pi.
Exactly.
But wouldn't that create a barrier for people who aren't already invested in Pi?
That's the challenge with any kind of closed ecosystem. You need to incentivize people to join and participate.
Yeah.
Pi Network would need to make it incredibly easy to acquire and use Pi within these platforms.
Yeah.
Or they risk alienating a big chunk of their potential audience.
It seems like Pi Network is facing an uphill battle on multiple fronts.
Yeah.
They need to attract users,
Yep.
convince businesses to accept Pi, and then create a stable enough currency to foster trust.
Right.
It's a lot to juggle.
It's a delicate balancing act. And while the concept of like a Pi-powered ecosystem is intriguing, it also raises some concerns about centralization.
Wait, I thought the whole point of Pi was to be decentralized.
Right.
How does this ecosystem idea square with that?
That's a great question, and one that we will explore in more detail in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay.
The line between decentralization and a controlled ecosystem can get blurry.
Yeah.
It's something we need to examine carefully.
Okay, so we've talked about Pi's mining system
Right.
and those ambitious applications, but there's a bigger picture we need to address, this whole idea of decentralization.
Right.
It keeps coming up,
It does.
but honestly, I'm still not totally clear how Pi Network fits into that.
It's a crucial point and one that I think often gets oversimplified.
Yeah.
Pi Network positions itself as part of this movement towards a more decentralized financial system.
Right.
But as we've been talking about, there ecosystem approach seems to contradict that.
Exactly. Like you would need some central authority to manage those 100 apps and make sure everything runs smoothly right.
Right.
How can you have a truly decentralized system when there's this central entity controlling the whole thing?
It's a valid question, and I think the answer lies in understanding the different layers of decentralization. Okay.
So Pi Network aims to decentralize the currency itself, the Pi coin,
Okay.
by distributing control among its users through that SCP consensus mechanism.
So the idea is that no single entity controls the Pi network or can manipulate the value of the coin.
That's the goal, at least.
Okay.
But when you layer on this ecosystem of applications, it gets more complicated.
Right.
Pi Network will likely have a significant role in, developing and managing those apps.
Yeah.
Which introduces a degree of centralization.
So it's kind of like a spectrum of decentralization.
Right.
Pi might be decentralized on the currency level, but more centralized on the application level.
Exactly. It's a nuanced concept, and it's important to avoid black and white thinking.
Right.
Pi Network might not achieve complete decentralization across the board, but it could still offer more user control and autonomy compared to traditional financial systems.
Okay, so our source material paints this shift towards decentralization as a really positive thing.
But are there any potential downsides we should be aware of?
There are definitely trade-offs to consider.
Okay, like what?
Well, one major concern is security.
Okay.
In a decentralized system, there's no central authority to turn to if something goes wrong.
Right.
If a user loses their private keys, their Pi could be gone forever.
That's a big risk.
It is a big risk.
And what about the potential for scams and fraud?
Right.
It seems like a decentralized system could be a breeding ground for bad actors.
That's a valid point, and we've already seen numerous examples of hacks and scams in the crypto space.
Right.
Decentralization doesn't automatically equal security.
Right.
And it's crucial for users to be extremely vigilant.
Yeah.
And take responsibility for their own safety.
So this decentralized utopia isn't all sunshine and rainbows.
Not necessarily.
There are some serious challenges to think about.
Absolutely. It's essential to approach this with a critical eye.
Okay.
And really weigh the potential benefits against the risks.
Yeah.
Decentralization can be empowering, but it also comes with a whole new set of responsibilities for users.
This brings us back to Pi Network specifically.
Yeah.
They're trying to walk this tightrope between decentralization and building this controlled ecosystem.
They are.
Do you think they can actually pull it off?
It's still too early to say. I think their approach is definitely innovative, but there are a lot of hurdles ahead.
Yeah.
Can they truly achieve sufficient decentralization while also managing a complex ecosystem?
Right.
Can they attract enough users and businesses to make Pi a viable currency?
It's a lot.
These are the big questions that will really determine Pi Network's ultimate success or failure.
So as with any new technology, especially in finance,
Absolutely.
a healthy dose of skepticism is essential.
Always.
We can't just take their word for it.
Right.
We need to see concrete evidence and real-world results.
Exactly.
And as always, we encourage our listeners to conduct their own research.
Yes.
Explore different perspectives.
Sure.
Inform their own conclusions. Don't just rely on a single source, including us.
That's right.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into Pi Network.
It does.
We covered a lot of ground from, how the mining system works to these broader implications of decentralization.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff.
You've explored its ambitious goals.
It is ambitious.
The potential benefits and drawbacks, and all the many challenges it faces.
A lot of challenges.
Whether Pi Network ultimately succeeds in revolutionizing finance remains to be seen.
We'll have to wait and see.
But I think the questions it raises about the future of money, technology, and individual empowerment.
Yeah.
Those are questions that are going to be debated for years to come.
For sure, for a long time.
That's what makes these deep dives so fascinating.
I agree.
We explore new ideas,
Yeah.
challenge assumptions,
Absolutely.
and hopefully leave with more questions than answers.
That's the goal.
It's all about, stimulating critical thinking and encouraging our listeners to stay curious, informed, engaged with the world around them.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So keep asking those tough questions. Keep seeking out diverse perspectives.
For sure.
And most importantly, keep diving deep.
Keep diving.
Until next time,